America has quietly slashed the fee for you as an American abroad to renounce your U.S. citizenship. Now, this is breaking news. This is an immediate expat alert. Every traveler abroad, every American abroad needs to know about this, because this slashment of fees is 80% lower than what it was. So let's break it down in this video, okay? Because it used to cost $2,350 to renounce your American citizenship. But just a week ago, March 14th, it now costs $450, okay?
Yeah, that's is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Leave a comment below, because, you know, it can be both. Because we know there's a lot of citizenship. So just Ghana, let's just say Ghana, they just recently gave citizenship to a lot of Americans, or I should say a lot of diaspora, right? And that's a good place to be when you have the citizenship. But are you going to revoke your U.S. citizenship? Because we know Donald Trump, he was talking about, you know, only you're going to have to choose. If you have dual citizenship, you're going to have to choose which citizenship that you want to have. So this is something that's been in the works, that they're probably talking about behind the scenes, because this is what we're talking about now. They've been doing this since 2023.
They've been planning this since 2023 in Biden's administration. That's who actually put this on the table, but it's now going into effect in President Donald Trump's administration. Now, in 2015, they hiked the price up to that $2,350. But then during Biden's administration, they said we want it to be just $450, which is really, really good. Because a lot of people complain like, oh my gosh, it's going to be $2,000 to revoke my U.S. passport. Now, I don't know what the other countries' passport revocation fees are, but that's pretty affordable.
Yeah.
$450. And get this, for years, the United States held the distinction of having the highest citizenship renunciation fee in the world. Oh, wow. That tells you the cost of living in America is just crazy. The price climbed to $2,350 in 2014, actually, which is a figure that critics argue created a financial barrier to access and exercise their legal right to change nationalities. Many Americans living abroad describe the fee as punitive, particularly when combined with the U.S. unusual taxation rate structure. But unlike every other country, the United States taxes its citizens based on citizenship and not on residency. Meaning, if you are a U.S. citizen abroad, as long as you have a blue passport, you must file your taxes, period. I don't know if people don't know that. I don't know if people are like, well, I can just like go travel and not have my, listen, I work with tax relief firms. I've worked with people who have owed millions in tax debt. And let me tell you, they don't forget about it, okay? They're going to wait until you're about 7 years late. Then they're going to get you and just snatch that money out your bank account. That's what's going to happen, okay? And the U.S. has such a hold on the world, especially with BlackRock and the elites and the Ashkenazis and Zionism, that these banks outside of America are still connected to America. So they report these forms to America. This is how the financial system works. I'm telling you, I work in finance as a marketing consultant. That means an American entrepreneur that's living in Singapore, a retiree in Portugal, or a consultant based in Mauritius must still file their U.S. tax paperwork every single year, regardless of where they live.
Yeah, that is a good point. This is something that a lot of people miss, you know. And this is, look, I was just talking to our client in a mature adult intensive about taxes and how, like, so this is a secret for you guys. This is some good information that you're going to hear. When you open a bank account in a country and you start using that bank account in a country, right, you're going to be taxed. So you're a U.S. citizen. You got the blue passport that you still have to pay taxes for, because that's what a lot of people want to do. When they move abroad, they want to open a bank account, use that bank account, because somehow I guess they think that is better. And in some ways, yes, but
depends.
like say, in tax ways, no, because you have that blue passport, you're gonna pay taxes on. You have that bank account, you're gonna pay taxes on. So pretty much, you're gonna have to pay taxes twice, no matter if the country is a double taxation or they do have a double taxation law. So here in Mauritius, we are a blue passport holder, but if we open a bank account, we're still going to pay taxes here, no matter what. So that's something that a lot of people miss. I know when we first came to Africa, there was a couple people that wasn't doing their taxes in the States. So no matter if you're making small amounts of money, you still have to file your taxes no matter what.
Yes, please stay compliant, because this is just going to help you sleep better at night. It's going to help you have real freedom. It's going to help you just give to Caesar what's due to Caesar, give to Yahuwah what's due to Yahuwah, because that's just the name of the game. But get this, the FBAR filings for foreign bank accounts are the laws that you're basically talking about. It's literally a foreign bank account law that makes you have to report that income. The FATCA disclosures for overseas financial institutions as well. And then there are IRS forms related to international businesses and investments. So obviously, if you're running a business as a sole proprietor, as an LLC, you file even an S Corp. You file your taxes differently than somebody that's on a W-2, okay? Business owners know this. If you're new in business, you might want to get in community or get in mentorship with people that understand these topics, because these are the topics people don't think about. And then on the flip side, between both Europe and Africa, you have scrupulous tax rates. Oh my gosh. So you got the American tax on one side, but it's not necessarily that much cheaper for you to revoke your US passport when you're living in a country like a Portugal, like a South Africa, that have 45% tax rates on global income, meaning it doesn't matter if your pension's coming from America, if your clients are coming from Dubai and America and Australia, none of that matters, because they have a law where they're going to tax you on the global income. This is why we choose to live in a country like Mauritius. This is why we say things like, it doesn't really matter about culture and fun and cutesy, all these things. What matters is logistically, what does this look like for you? Like, are you actually going to save money by living in these countries? This is why people choose a Mauritius, a Seychelles. Even a Botswana is more modest with their tax rate. Rwanda is similar to Mauritius at 15%. Kenya's at 35%. A little bit better than South Africa or Portugal, but still higher than a Mauritius or a Rwanda, higher than a Seychelles, higher than a Dubai, which is historically why people wanted to be in Dubai. But we all see what's happening right now in Dubai. So a lot of people are looking elsewhere. And so they're going to be coming to a Seychelles, to a Mauritius, to make sure that they're not paying that much in tax debt.
Yeah, and like I say, we're not a tax advisor or financial advisor. So, do your own research, talk to the right people. But we just talk from experience. We talk from the information that we look up, the knowledge that we know. So, make sure you do your own research. But that is a question that I want you guys to answer below. Will you move to a country, or will you revoke your U.S. passport to get like a South African passport? Or a Ghanaian passport, just from us explaining taxes to you guys, because you will have to pay taxes, and they do taxes a little bit different here on the continent. They don't give you money back. You get what I'm saying? Like around this time, around tax time, you have to pay it at the end of the year, or you might
quarterly.
have to pay it up front, or quarterly. So that's something to think about. That's really something to think about.
Yeah, especially if you have children, you have grandparents, you have people, you're not just like a single person backpacker that's like, oh, I can just try and evade. You're not going to evade nothing on the continent, I'll tell you that. You're not about to evade nothing in Europe either, because here's the thing as well. When you are traveling abroad, you are not a local. I don't know who needs to hear this. Highlight it, write it down. I am not a local. That means that your name is on foreign lists. You're an expat. They're keeping track of you. They are going to make sure that you pay your tax debt and bribe fees if you are in a corrupt country, including countries in Europe that deal with bureaucracy heavily as well. They're going to make sure that you pay your bribe fees and your tax debt, because they are watching you more than the locals, which for the locals, they're like, that's fair. Like, y'all should get taxed. But if you feel like that's not fair, then you definitely want to choose a place like Mauritius or Seychelles. You definitely want to look at, okay, what are the tax requirements before I move to this place? And this is all information that's available online. It doesn't take a lawyer. It doesn't take like spending thousands and literally go to Google. What is the tax rate for South Africa?
Yeah.
What's the tax rate for Mauritius? How much do I have to make for this to be put into effect? In South Africa, it's $48,000 for 45% tax rate. In Botswana, it's a little bit lower. In other African countries, it's lower. In Europe, it's lower, because understand, a lot of people think like Europeans and like going to these different countries are wealthier than America. I'm not sure why people think that. America's the wealthiest nation that exists right now. And so 9 times out of 10, you're automatically at the top of your tax bracket in those countries as a citizen of those countries. You're not at the lower end of the tax bracket. You're not even in the middle end of the tax bracket. You are at the top. They see you, you're super wealthy to them. You're making USD, so you need to pay your tax debt, okay?
Yeah. Taxes is something that you definitely have to pay attention to, but
Big time.
This citizenship, right? That comes with a lot too. So I'll let you continue, then I'll talk about what I need to say.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Most people, when they're renouncing their U.S. citizenship, they're doing it for only one reason. The only true reason to renounce U.S. citizenship, when it's the strongest passport in the top 10, gets you into various countries. If you were to get a Nigerian passport, you're going to be not going to many places. If you were to get a Ghanaian passport, you're going to be going to some places. If you were to get whatever passport, it's typically not going to perform as well as an American passport would. And so people actually renounce because they want lower tax debt, okay? They don't want to pay America, but if you choose the wrong country, you could be paying more. And so this is why you'll see like people that are looking into residency options instead of changing their citizenship. But understand, if you did want to renounce your U.S. passport, it must occur in person at a U.S. embassy or a consulate. As global mobility expanded the remote work and allowed professionals to relocate internationally, a number of Americans living abroad has steadily increased. We saw the Wall Street Journal. They reported that there have never been more Americans than ever before living abroad since the Great Depression.
That's something to think about right there.
And with that increase came more individuals exploring long-term residency options. This is what we like. Long-term residency is that sweet spot where you're not going to be on these weird lists. You're not going to be watched by both Americans and foreign governments. You're kind of in that neutral territory where you can get a long-term residency in a Mauritius, in a Thailand, in a Botswana, in the Philippines, in Sri Lanka, in Rwanda, and live your best life. Many of these countries are actively courting Americans because they want to attract capital and talent to their governments, to their economies. And the result is a subtle competition between governments for globally mobile citizens. In that environment, a high exit fee can become a logistical obstacle for the administrative system itself, and lowering the renunciation fee accomplishes several things simultaneously. First, it reduces legal challenges around access to second citizenship. Second, it allows embassies to process applications more efficiently by removing a large financial barrier. And third, it acknowledges the reality many policymakers are saying out loud. Global mobility is accelerating. The modern workforce is no longer confined to national borders. Remote work, international banking, and digital entrepreneurship. Y'all know we love digital entrepreneurship. We've been digital entrepreneurs for 10 years. Created an environment where location has created and become more increasingly flexible. And you know, that flexibility, that optionality, that's something that you want to have. In fact, if you like this conversation, if you'd like to continue this conversation, visit www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com. The Mature Adult Intensive is closed. We'll let you know when we reopen it, but you can book a global mobility consultation one-to-one, or you can book a package of them if you want to continuously speak over the next 3 to 6 months to talk about your strategy and your residency pathways. Because here's the thing, people now design their lives around multiple jurisdictions. A founder in a company in Texas can operate from Brazil. We have a client like that in our marketing firm. Or us, consultants in Mauritius, can have clients between New York, London, Australia, Dubai, and anywhere else on earth. Or if you're a retiree, you may split your time between Southeast Asia and Mauritius while managing investments digitally.
Yeah, that's some good information. So that's something that you have to think about, because I think that's the best option other than revoking your U.S. passport. I know you mentioned earlier about the benefits of having an American passport. So, you know, you have to really think of things like that, because just saying, sometimes we check out Walter Maya's videos and he travels a lot, right? But he has to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months just to get accepted.
Get a visa. To
get a visa. And he's from Ghana. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's Ghanaian.
So you have to think about these things that the U.S. passport or U.S. citizen, you have these benefits. So if that's bank accounts, right? If that's social security number, you get what I'm saying?
Access to retirement.
Exactly. Access to your pension and everything like that. Are you in a position to actually do that? Are you in a position to revoke your U.S. passport and be sustainable in another country? Do you know how to move around that country that you want to get citizenship or a new passport? What passport is the strongest in Africa or in the world, to be honest? Because you have to know these things.
Do you know the strongest passport in Africa? We're not going to answer it. We're going to let y'all answer it. That's y'all's homework down below. Answer, what is the strongest passport in Africa?
Exactly.
Because we already know.
Yeah, that's something that you really have to think about. And these are the questions that, you know, we get and we tell people, and it's just like, oh wow, I was thinking a little bit different. And it's like, no, you gotta be strategic in your moves. Do you really know how to move around countries properly, that if you do revoke your U.S. citizen, that blue passport, are you going to be sustainable? Do you know how to work the system? Do you know how to open a bank account? Do you know how to, you know, get a cell phone and pay through mobile money? Do you know how to, you know, get access to land and things like that? Are you going to be sustainable that way? Like, these are the questions that you really have to ask yourself, because it's very important. I know it's very exciting to get citizenship somewhere else, but you have to be prepared.
And do you want to abandon your American businesses? There are so many American entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, who are starting businesses for the first time, able to leave a legacy for their family. But guess what? When you revoke that citizenship, you're no longer entitled to that American business. All of that shuts down. It's like shutting down an entire door to your identity, quite honestly, and closing that door and saying, well, I don't want to be affiliated with that part of who I am, which really isn't that wise of something to do, especially if you're a Black American.
Yeah, even here on YouTube, you get what I'm saying? How is that going to work? If you have a YouTube channel and you get, you know, a little money from YouTube, from America, do you need to start a new YouTube channel or something with the citizenship or residency that you have? So little things like that, it does matter, because you have to be sustainable. You need your resources, you need your finances to be solid. Because I know here in Africa, the income level is very low. You get what I'm saying? I'll say at the most, this is pushing it, possibly
even
$3,000, $4,000 a month.
Even in Seychelles.
And that's very high. You get what I'm saying? So $1,000 a month for a local person, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month might be a very good month for them. So can you survive off that? Are you going to be able to pay your rent? You know, goes grocery shopping. You know, for us in the West, we like to go out. We like to like eat and things like that. Are you going to be able to do things of that nature on a lower income that you have monthly? So these are the things that you really have to think about. Like
tough decisions.
Yeah, sacrifices, but obedience is better than sacrifice. So if this is something that you want to do and need to do, and the Most High is calling you to do, go ahead and do it. But just know you're going to have to really change your mindset. You're going to have to really be in tune with yourself and the Creator that made you to be sustainable, because it's going to be a little bit tougher.
Exactly, because also understand life insurance policies, health insurance, all that stuff that you have in America that you would pass down to your children no longer applies. It's literally like you are a foreigner. You are a foreign-born person that has no ties to America, and reversing that renunciation does not really happen unless you get back in some way. But they're not just going to expedite your application back in because you were a previous American. In fact, they would probably look at you like, we don't really trust you.
Yeah, you don't even know the language, like, type thing, like, yeah.
No, like, in America.
Oh, and that's
like, they're not
thing.
going to trust you because it's World War III. Like, these nations are functioning differently in World War III, okay?
Yes.
Even on residency applications, people do not talk about this, but you'll continue to see this. On residency applications, they will ask you, how many citizenships and passports and nationalities do you have? Now, what do you think it looks like in the system when you have 4 and 5 different passports? You kind of look like a risk in World War.
Yeah. And that's another thing. This is something that I don't know if you guys know about. I'm pretty sure you do. But Donald Trump, right? He revoked a lot of people from coming to the U.S. And if you are pretty much a citizen in Africa, you have to prove that you make you have $15,000 US in the bank to get to America.
Right.
So little things like that. If you revoke your American citizenship and you want to go back to America, what kind of passport are you holding? Because you might not be able to get in. Like, these are the things that's real life right now. So as we know how Donald Trump like really moves, he takes the Venezuelan president first, and then, you know, he has the oil, he has the resources, and then start war over here. He thinks a little bit ahead of a lot of things before he do it. So just how he did that with how some people are banned to come to America. Some countries are banned. Some countries, it costs more to get to the States, and the visa is I guess more difficult to get. And now they dropped the price to $450. So it's like, what's really going on? Like, you really got to
remember, that was during the Biden administration, though.
Yeah, but
Trump's administration had increased it. So he can't undo what Biden's administration did.
No, I get that. I'm saying he thinks a little bit ahead, always. So in a way, what he did, was it earlier this year or last year when he did the countries with
December, maybe 75 country ban?
Yeah, ban.
They're banned from entering.
And
so he clearly made it more difficult for people that are of African citizenships and Asian citizenships and Middle Eastern. All of those places were included. It wasn't just Africa, to even get into America. So I see what you're saying. You're trying to say that he sees that that's about to go into effect. So he's like, okay, well, how about put a ban on it?
Yeah. So,
he can't change the law, but he can ban these countries.
Yeah. So I know it's exciting. I know it's exciting to get citizenship somewhere else. But will you be able to go visit your family when you get it? Will you come back? Or I guess revoke. Let me say that. Revoke the U.S. citizenship.
Renounce. Yeah.
Renounce. So, you know, there's places with dual citizenship. That's okay. But are you willing to renounce your U.S. citizenship? So these are the things that you got to think about, guys.
Yeah, most families, if somebody's married with a family, it's very rare that they're willing to renounce because they're thinking more legacy, generational wealth. They're thinking, what do I want to pass down to my children? So typically when you see these conversations, it's like a single man and he's like, well, I just want to renounce because it's just me and I'm going to go marry somebody in the Philippines. That's great. But families and retirees, they think completely differently, which is why we work with mature adults, entrepreneurs, families, people that aren't just following the crowd and following the algorithm and mindlessly doing things. It takes real strategy, innovation, and you basically need to pull out a Venn diagram and say, what are the benefits? What's the cost? And do I want to do this? Is this really what I'm being led to do?
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Guys, there's some good information, you know. I did a Sunday market blueprint yesterday. Yesterday for us.
Yeah.
We're 2
hours
days
ahead of y'all.
for EST. But the client, she said something very important. She said, you guys have a lot of good information. And a lot of people does not like really listen to what you guys say. So I really appreciate how you guys are moving. You guys are on YouTube giving the information out, but if people don't listen, that's like really ignorant. That's like something that, you know, it like I know we are people like we're hard-headed, but in a way we really need to listen to each other because information is out here, and like we are in an era of information. That's very important. And this video right here, I really believe that people really need to listen because I know a lot of people are getting citizenship in other countries and things like that, and it's exciting. It's exciting. You want to go do it too. So that's something to really think about. Just listen, please. That's our main thing. That hey, when you watch the videos, really listen. Think about how oh, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But you gotta think ahead. You gotta think ahead always. You gotta think about your future always.
Think 20 years ahead.
Yeah.
Yep. You gotta prepare. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you in the next video. Share this with people who need to hear it. And let us know your thoughts down below. Yeah. Would you renounce your U.S. citizenship for $450?
It's only $400.
And in favor of whose citizenship would you get?
Yeah. Shalom, family.